In the depths of the woods, where shadows dance and whispers linger, beware the eyes that watch from the darkness. The woods of Black Hollow were infamous among the locals, a place where sunlight struggled to penetrate the dense canopy of ancient trees. Legends whispered through the town of a creature known as Nalusa Chito, a malevolent spirit that thrived on despair and darkness. It was said that those who entered with heavy hearts would never return, their souls consumed by the entity that lurked in the shadows. As autumn approached, the leaves turned crimson and gold, creating a deceptive beauty that masked the underlying terror. The townsfolk often warned their children to stay away from Black Hollow, but curiosity has a way of drawing people in, especially those who felt lost or broken. Rising action. Sarah was one such soul. The recent death of her brother had left her hollow, a shell of her former self. She wandered through life in a fog, unable to shake off the weight of her grief. One evening, driven by an inexplicable urge, she found herself standing at the edge of Black Hollow. The air was thick with an unsettling silence, but something compelled her to step inside. As she ventured deeper into the woods, she felt an oppressive presence enveloping her. The trees seemed to whisper a name, the gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Shadows flitted at the edges of her vision, and she could swear she heard soft cries echoing through the underbrush. Despite her fear, Sarah pressed on, desperate for a sense of closure. Suddenly she stumbled upon a clearing bathed in an eerie twilight glow. In its center lay an ancient stone altar covered in moss and twisted vines. A chill ran down her spine as she approached it. She could almost feel her brother's spirit beckoning her closer. But as she reached out to touch the stone, a cold wind swept through the clearing, extinguishing any warmth left in her heart. Meanwhile, Mark was known for his bravado. He scoffed at local superstitions and dared his friends to join him on an adventure into Black Hollow. "It's just a bunch of stories," he declared with a sneer, as they gathered at the edge of the woods one fateful night. Armed with flashlights and bravado, Mark led his friends into the forest. Laughter echoed through the trees as they recounted ghost stories and dared each other to venture deeper. But as they crossed into the heart of Black Hollow, their laughter faded into nervous chuckles. The atmosphere shifted. It became heavy and suffocating. Mark's flashlight flickered ominously before dying completely. Panic set in as they stumbled through darkness, their senses heightened by fear. They heard rustling in the bushes. Something was watching them. Suddenly, one of his friends screamed as something darted past them, an indistinct shadow that seemed to blend seamlessly with the night. Mark's bravado faltered. He felt an icy grip around his heart as he realized they were not alone. Emily had always been fascinated by her family's history in Black Hollow. Her grandmother spoke of encounters with Nalusa Chito, but never revealed what had happened to those who ventured too far into its depths. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily set out alone one foggy morning with nothing but her grandmother's journal and a small flashlight. As she walked deeper into the woods, she felt an unsettling sensation creeping up her spine. The feeling that someone or something was watching her every move. The journal spoke of rituals meant to ward off Nalusa Chito, but offered little comfort against the growing dread enveloping her. Hours passed as Emily navigated through thick underbrush and towering trees, till she stumbled upon a clearing similar to Sarah's, a place where time seemed to stand still. In its center stood remnants of old stone structures covered in vines and moss. She felt drawn to them, but also terrified by their presence. Suddenly, a low growl reverberated through the air. A sound so primal, it sent shivers down her spine. She turned to flee, but found herself surrounded by shadows that twisted and writhed like living smoke. The three souls, Sarah, Mark, and Emily, were unknowingly converging toward a singular point in Black Hollow where Nalusa Chito awaited them. Sarah stood at the altar when Mark burst into the clearing with his friends trailing behind him, panic etched on their faces. "We need to get out of here!" he shouted breathlessly, but it was too late. Nalusa Chito emerged from the shadows, a towering figure cloaked in darkness with glowing red eyes that pierced through their souls. It exuded an aura of despair that wrapped around them like chains. Mark's bravado shattered completely as he realized they were facing something beyond comprehension. Emily clutched her grandmother's journal tightly. Words from its pages flooded her mind, words about confronting darkness with light. Together, Emily shouted over the rising wind that howled around them like angry spirits, "We can fight it!" Gathering their courage, they formed a circle around Sarah at the altar and began chanting phrases from Emily's journal, words meant to summon strength from within, rather than fear from without. Nalusa Chito recoiled slightly at their unity, but quickly retaliated with a deafening roar that shook the ground beneath them. Shadows lashed out like tendrils, trying to ensnare them one by one. As they chanted louder, each word resonated within them, a surge of hope igniting against despair's grip. The shadows began to waver. Light broke through as dawn approached on the horizon. In one final act of defiance against Nalusa Chito's malevolence, Sarah stepped forward alone. Her grief transformed into resolve. "You will not take us," she cried out fiercely. With those words echoing through Black Hollow, light erupted from within Sarah's heart, illuminating everything around them. The shadows shrieked in agony as they were banished back into darkness. When silence fell over Black Hollow once more, and dawn broke across the treetops, Sarah collapsed onto her knees. Tears streamed down her face, not just from relief, but from catharsis. The weight of grief finally lifted as hope filled its place. Mark and Emily rushed to her side. They were alive, together, and had faced down their darkest fears. Emerging from Black Hollow changed forever. Sarah found solace in sharing her story with others who had suffered loss or despair. Mark learned humility and respect for things beyond understanding, while Emily became an advocate for mental health awareness, using their experience to help others confront their own demons rather than run from them. The woods still held an air of mystery, a reminder that darkness lurks everywhere, but they also stood as a testament to resilience and unity against despair's consuming power. Have you ever faced your own version of Nalusa Chito? Share your stories in the comments below. And if you crave more spine-chilling tales like this one, where legends come alive, be sure to check out our next video on haunted forests around the world. Make the background music eerie, creepy.